Chelsea Football Club say that Enzo Maresca is untouchable and he's not getting sacked no matter what. Furthermore, we start seeing that Guehi might be coming to Chelsea, and there are 3 reasons why Chelsea are interested in him. Gabriel Mek, the young sensation, the second coming of Esteval even before Esteval has come, being linked with Chelsea again, the contact has started, and finally, we review the game tomorrow against Copenhagen. Chelsea versus Copenhagen in the Conference League match preview. Enzo Maresca gives us some early team news. He gives us an update on Cole Palmer, injury news that is absolutely unreal. And finally, we preview the game. So let's get started. You made it this far. You're clearly enjoying what you're seeing. So hit that like button. 1,000 likes tell YouTube you liked it. Someone else might like it. Subscribing to the channel, by the way, as a massive favor to the channel. What you do then is make sure you get alerted when the new videos come out. And it also helps me get to 40,000. I'd really appreciate that. Let's get started. Look, I think the biggest story today is the Fabrizio Romano insight that has come out. Fabrizio Romano states that Chelsea believe Enzo Maresca is untouchable no matter what happens this season. For me, that is a brief if I've ever seen one, but more importantly, that's delusion. I don't believe that. And the reason I don't believe this is because what if we lose the next 12 games? We absolutely end the season terribly. We don't finish in the top 8. And all of a sudden, you're going to tell me he's not going to get fired. Of course he's going to get fired. We heard stories like this from about Maurizio Pochettino last year. We were briefed that he's the future. He is, and they're using the same words. However, this is what I expect them to do. They hired this man. They jumped on a limb for this man. And more importantly, this man is not letting them down at this moment in time. People are going to say, Alex, what are you talking about? We're 5th. Guys, on this weekend, if Forest and Man City draw and we beat Leicester, we go 3rd. That's how close it is at this moment in time. We need to do our job. We need to pick up the points. And at the end of the season, we will judge Enzo Maresca the way we judged Maurizio Pochettino. I can't put it any simpler. Within this statement from Fabrizio Romano, we also hear that the players, the owners, and the managers are the directors in this case, I assume, all believe in Enzo Maresca, and this is not something that could be said about Pochettino. Remember, when Pochettino was the manager, we heard rumors that came out that Igbali was not a fan of Pochettino because Stewart and Winstanley apparently weren't fans of him towards the end, and they wrote that dossier on why he should go. That was all the articles that came out. Bowley, on the other hand, thought Pochettino should stay long term, and also we know certain players weren't happy with the way Poch was coaching. I can have a guess which ones they are. That would be purely speculative. I don't want to do that. I think that's disrespectful to the players. But what this is telling us that the players are on board. And to be fair, when you hear what the players say about Enzo Maresca, it's not hard to believe that they're on board. The Athletic has come out with an interesting article through Liam Toomey, and they're talking about the fact that Guehi could be coming to Chelsea this summer. Chelsea are interested in him, and there are 3 reasons given why, right? So the first reason is he's got 1 year left on his deal. Classic Chelsea, opportunity signing. They believe that there is a player that they can acquire. But the reality is, how cheap will he be on 1 year? Because last year, we know that £70 million was rejected from Crystal Palace, from Newcastle. We also know that Tottenham went in with 60 million, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of January, towards the end of the window. So what is he going to be worth in the summer? My prediction is around £50 million, right? £50 million for Guehi. The next thing that they like about him is his leadership. That we know he has in abundance. He's a great leader. He's extremely vocal. He speaks well in public, and on the pitch he speaks a lot. And more importantly, he performs and leads by example. This team needs experience, right? They need somebody that's going to be a vocal leader to take over from Toussaint, because I think he's got too much of an influence on this team from the fact that he doesn't play every game. If we were great and challenging for the Premier League, Toussaint is not playing for Chelsea. And that's the reality of it. And the final thing is, he's an England international. I think this is massive. The fact that he starts for England on a regular basis, the fact that he stepped up at the tournament, for me is unreal. Because what it showed is, no matter what level he jumped up to, and he was the top 3 players for England, he left with his reputation so enhanced. It shows that he doesn't crumble under pressure, because the whole narrative is, can he take the step up to the next level? And that is a fair narrative. I don't think that is actually very unfair to ask the question because he's playing for Crystal Palace. We haven't seen him play at a higher level. He's played mid-table Premier League football. He's played against the bigger teams. He's made mistakes, but it's different type of pressure when you're playing against these teams. But the question I'm going to ask all of you is, because this is the question I've asked myself, and this is what I like to do on the channel. I want to make thought-provoking content. I want you guys to watch it, listen to my opinions, but also go away and give me your opinions in the comments below. Would you rather spend £50 million on Mark Guehi, who you know could be a good/great player, or take a gamble with a Huijsen at a Bournemouth? Because he'll cost around about 50 million euros. He is an experiment, he's young, but we know he could become world class. That potential's always there. So this is where you need to answer the question. For me, I kind of want the more secure buy. I genuinely think if it's out of those two, I'd rather take the Mark Guehi of the world. Is Mark Guehi my first choice? No. However, if you're giving me Huijsen and Mark Guehi, I'd rather go for the guy that's played nearly 200 Premier League games, that's been in and around, that's a captain of his team. He's just waiting to take the step up to a top 6, top 4 team. For me, Mark Guehi would be the smarter acquisition. The final thing I want to touch on before the Copenhagen versus Chelsea match preview is Gabriel Mek. For those of you that don't know, Gabriel Mek is a 16-year-old left winger that is playing in Guillermo, I think it's pronounced, or Grêmio. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's a team in Brazil. He is a young kid. He is somebody that is a prospect. It's one of those prospects that we won't see for another 18 months, right? He's going to be not coming either this summer, maybe next summer. However, we spoke to his camp in the past. Neymar's dad was part of his camp. I think he was one of the agents. He was brokering the deal. The deal never got done. Apparently the money was too high. However, Chelsea are back at the table, and our good friend Joe Shields is leading this at this moment in time. And what the reports are saying in Brazil is he's a Wonderkid. He's like Estevao. And I know what people are going to say. Why on earth are we getting another Wonderkid? We don't need to spend. We need to spend on the first team. I'm going to ask you a question, right? Real Madrid had Vinny. They went and got Rodrigo. They went and got Endrick. If you got Kendrick Pies, you went and got Estevao. No one's complaining about those signings. No one's complaining about Andre Santos. No one will complain about Gabriel Mek if he becomes what he's meant to become. The key here is, how much do you invest? I think if you invest somewhere between 15 million and lower euros, easy, no one cares. The problem becomes when you start investing 25, 30 million. That's when this player's got a bang. That's when it's in the Estevao range, and that is where I think, yo, this kid might be special. So we need to see what happens, but reports in Brazil are saying we've got competition from Arsenal, Bayern Munich, and Barcelona. When those clubs are interested in a player, what it tells you is he's good. I'm sorry, I know that's a very basic way of doing analysis, but he's 16. We've got no data to look at. I'm going to have to trust what the scouts are saying and withhold my opinion on whether he's good or not until I see him with my own eyes. But at this moment in time, I don't question the club because I've done it in the past. I said, let's get Duran after 6 months late. I said, Samuel Morodian is a decent player, but is it what we need? And looks like at Porto, he actually would have been perfect to what we need. So I'm done questioning the board. Genuinely, when it comes to young players that I haven't seen, I'm not questioning it. I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and then we'll judge them once they're here. Copenhagen versus Chelsea is a Conference League game, and I weirdly missed the Conference League, right? Genuinely, I missed football. We haven't had our Chelsea play in like 9 days. I absolutely miss watching my team play. So for the love of, for thunder, or for the worst, whatever you want to call it, I actually adore this team. Like, even though they can annoy me, they're such a part of my routine. I'm so dependent on news on them that I start getting bored and I start watching football that I shouldn't be watching rather than concentrating on my team. But what do we know from team news? We know that Badiashile and Trevor Chalobah both travelled. Both players are back. Enzo Maresca said Trev had a little bit of a back problem, but fully recovered and should be ready to go. Big Ben is back as well, which is great news because he's been out for such a long period of time. I didn't even think he was going to be out that long. Furthermore, Wesley Fofana is fit, but he's not in the Conference League squad because he never got added, which means this guy is basically had another weeks of training. Hopefully he sees some minutes against Leicester, reintegrate him in nice and slowly. Romeo Lavia has been in training with the first team for 2 days now. This is great news, but it's one of those where I don't think he's going to be back maybe till after the international break, and they're going to look after him and nurture him in. That's my personal opinion. In terms of things you don't want to hear, Robert Sanchez is going to start tomorrow's game. A lot of people say to me, Alex, you're so mean to Robert Sanchez. Robert Sanchez has lost all benefit of doubt with me. Listen, Robert Sanchez could keep 10 clean sheets in a row. I will say it's good form. Like, he's really hurt me so many times that if I give him another chance, it's shame on me. At this point, I can't even blame him and be angry at him. When he makes mistakes, it's like, what do you expect? I blame Maresca because you're playing him. So for me, I know where I stand with Robert Sanchez. He's going to start tomorrow. Enzo Maresca said something, and for me, I heard it and I was like, yeah, this is where I know for a fact you have no faith in him. He said, we need to give him minutes. We need to try to help him. Bruv, what is this? Try to help him. We're not in the business of trying to help people that work for you. You're paying him money, he needs to play well. If he can't play well, don't play him. It's actually so simple. Like, genuinely, we're in the knockout stages of the Conference League. This isn't a league where you're going to have another chance if he makes a mistake. This is 180 minutes worth of football. We need to go and make sure we win this tournament. I don't want to see this guy give opportunities to Robert Sanchez to prove himself. We know what he is. What is the point? Cole Palmer's back into the Conference League squad and he's raring to go, according to Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca clarifies that at this moment in time, he's very excited. He's raring to go. They've made sure that Cole, Wes and Romeo were managed. They weren't going to be overexerted in the competition, and this was one of the reasons that they weren't in the first phase. However, now that it's getting to the business end, Romeo and Wes both broke down, so they haven't been reintegrated. However, Cole Palmer's fully fine. He's been rested. He's been ready to go. And he's super excited for this final end of the season. And for me, this is a great opportunity for Chelsea to get some armpits in the air. You know them ones, get a trophy, put their armpits in the air and get happy. So, and for a lot of these players, it's going to be a lot of their first trophy. Like outside of, I think, Enzo and Cucurella, how many other winners do we have in this squad? How many players have actually won trophies at men's football? I know Noni, Cole Palmer, Livakoa won the under-21, I think Euros. However, that doesn't really count in the men's game. They need to win a trophy, they need to put their arms in the air, and they need to be gassed. It's one of those things. The final thing that Enzo Maresca said that I thought was interesting to bring to you was regarding Copenhagen. He said they're a good side. He's been at the stadium with Manchester City 3 years ago. He has a lot of respect for the team. He really likes the way they play football. He said they have their style and they always try to play it. They try to control the game and they try to be expansive. What I like about this is, I agree with this, because I remember watching, I think, a Copenhagen game last season, if I'm not mistaken, in the Champions League. It was either last season or the season before. And that team absolutely peppered Manchester United home and away. Cool, calm, composed, very comfortable on the ball, expressed themselves. They had this kid called Rooney at the time, very good player. And I don't know whether he's back from his ACL injury and he's going to get reintegrated. I know his younger brother is even better than him, apparently. But it's one of those things where we know for a fact, yeah, they're going to play. They are going to express themselves. And more importantly, this is a team that is going to show the world that they can take on Chelsea. Chelsea need to be ready and accepting this challenge, because I think this is the best team we could have got. Maybe Real Betis. And the interesting thing about the bracket was, if we get past Copenhagen, the next biggest challenge will either be Fiorentina or Real Betis in the final. The other teams which we should dominate. There should be no excuses. With Copenhagen, they're a good team. Like, I'm not here taking them for granted. I really don't. I'm not saying we should go out. I'll be very annoyed if we lose. However, I think this is going to be the biggest challenge we have so far. I'm really excited for the game. In regards to what we're going to start, I don't know how many changes he's going to make, but he has to make some changes. Look, you can't run Enzo and Caicedo out every single week. I think it is so important, yeah, that they get a little bit of a rest, especially because we have got Leicester on the weekend, which is a must win. I can't reiterate how much of a must win that is. Then we have Arsenal and then international break. And both players are going to go away on international break. It's not a joke. Like, we need to be very responsible. We need to manage the game. How many changes you make, I don't know. In my opinion, what I would do personally, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, I'm going to go with Sanchez in goal, because he's already told us he's doing that. Right back, I'm going with Malo Gusto. Centre back, I'm going to go with Trevor Chalobah. and Joshua Chempong. On the left-hand side, I'm going with Marco Correa. We need his experience. We don't have no one. Ishe can't get into the team because he's not registered. In the midfield too, I'm going to go with Mugu and Keenan Dewsbury Hall. I know it's not popular, but I feel like we might need to do that because I don't want to risk Enzo and Caicedo. And if Keenan Dewsbury Hall and Mugu can't do a job for us, then I feel like we have absolutely failed. In the 10 role, Nkunku. Number 9, I'm going Shim. Shim gets a run out. On the wings, I'm going to go with George. And I'm going to go with, what's his name, Sancho. I'm resting Neto. I need Neto for the Premier League. I'm sorry. It's a must. You have to go there. You need to manage the game. And you need to get a victory. That team should be good enough. I don't know what he's going to do. I really don't know. Because it's so difficult to guess at this moment in time. But it is what it is. Listen, I need you lot to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content. You made it this far. You clearly did. We are super close to 40,000. But if you want more Kavkas View, I've got a video for you guys here about my thoughts on Joao Felix. And how, at this moment in time, he's failing. Yes, he's failing at AC Milan. And I might have been wrong. Go check that out.